Happy Tuesday, Shredder World. Welcome to Shred Your Body, episode number 8. I am your host, Jesse James Jamnik, and tonight I have a very, very special guest with me, Mr. Dean Eastman from Canada. And we will get into Dean's story here real soon. But first off, as you join us, do me a favor. There you go, buddy. Put the hat on backwards. I love it. As you guys join us, drop into the comments. Let us know where it is that you're coming in from. If you have any questions throughout, definitely put them into the comments. We'll do our best to get to them. But the purpose of, Sean's on. There he is. But the purpose of this call every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, Shred Your Body. I am going to either share with you free knowledge on science, on nutrition, on health. And the other side of what I like to do, what is my favorite part to do, is to highlight people from our shredder army, as I like to call it, people that are just crushing it with the erShred, with their health, and the community aspect of the erShred. Like, yep, we're going to get physical results. We're going to get mental results. I mean, we've gotten thousands of people from around the world now who have had amazing transformations, but really, what I'm excited about is to share the community that we've built that is 20,000 strong now. And Dean and I will talk about that tonight. But to highlight people that are just crushing it and contributing to that community. And I love this, Dean, because I didn't know you before the erShred.
No.
I didn't know you, dude. And already talking to you and already kind of just knowing you for a few weeks, we had a quick little chat.
Sorry.
Today, like 5 minutes, both agreed. Like we can just get along. You know what I mean? Like we're on that same page. So awesome. Welcome to the call and thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jesse.
Yeah, man. We got people in Colorado. We got Central Florida. We got Jersey, Michigan. We got Nova Scotia. All sorts of people coming in. So cool. So let's do this, Dean. I got to know you a little bit, but I'm excited to get to know you better because we haven't really had a good chance to kind of, dig into anything. Obviously, from your office, I can see you're a huge hockey fan. We'll get into that, but just tell everybody a little bit about you. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up? Give us who Dean Eastman is.
Well, being Canadian, I'm just like the guy next door. I'm just Dean Eastman. I'm just Dean.
Yeah.
No bigger, no better. Husband, father, my beautiful wife, Heather. Been married with Heather since 2007. We've got 2 young boys, Eric and Ryan, who are 11 and 9. So typical busy family. Both boys are in hockey. So us being Canadian, I mean, hockey's pretty much our sport, but with COVID and the pandemic that we're in, it's kind of slowed things down a bit for us, which has been nice. Nice change. Grew up in Eastern Ontario, so just outside of Ottawa, Cornwall, Ontario. Grew up there for most of my life. Moved to Ottawa for my career back in 1999. And then 2003, moved my way down to the Motor City, down to Oshawa, Ontario. And now live in Whitby, Ontario, just next door to Oshawa. I've been working here full time. And 49 years old, turning 50 in April. And that's it in a nutshell.
That's awesome. Nah, that's awesome. I mean, bang, right? Just there it all is. So let's get into this. Obviously, you're part of the erShred community now, which is the now, right? But what I would like to do, if you don't mind, because the cool part is, and as you've watched now in the group, where lives are changing, right? Lives are freaking changing. I mean, people of all walks of life are coming into this group, and you've seen it now with your own 2 eyes. But I want to kind of go back to, let's go back to childhood, Dean. I mean, tell us, you said you're big into hockey. You told me, you shared with me that you played hockey yourself, right? Now I would imagine being Canadian, I know I grew up in the Northeast, so I grew up playing hockey. I was a goalie for many years, all through high school. I didn't make it any further than that. My sister was actually a goalie too. And she made it to college. She went to University of Southern Maine and set like all the freaking goaltending records for women's hockey. So she's definitely more of a badass than I am for sure. But tell us about, like, how was it like growing up? I mean, were you in shape? Were you out of shape? Did you struggle growing up? What was life like as, as a kid?
I had a great childhood, a great upbringing. I've got a brother and sister, mom and dad. Mom and dad have been married now for over 50 years. Grew up in a small village of about 1,000 people in the 70s.
Hmm.
Everybody knew my neighbors, so I'm a small town boy, and I've brought that small town mentality with me to this big metropolis of Whitby, Ontario. But back in the 70s and 80s, growing up, we played outdoors, played out in the bush, played in the forest, built forts, skated on the outdoor rinks and ponds in the wintertime. In the summertime, I played baseball, played soccer. Grew up, but hockey's really been my bread and butter. Been my love. Like I
Yeah.
eat, breathe, and watch it, play it. But yeah, growing up, had a great childhood. No complaints. I still got a lot of connections with my small town, hometown friends. Growing up when we were kids, going to public school. But in 1978, that's when I first got my first health setback. Got childhood diabetes. So I
Okay.
was 7 years old in 1978 and got juvenile diabetes. Lost a lot of weight. I saw a couple of the shredders, the community speaking about their diet and stuff like that. In 78, I lost a lot of weight as a 7-year-old, lost my energy, my drive to play sports. I was hallucinated a lot. So we didn't know what diabetes was back in 78, but my mom's girlfriend back at the time said, geez, you might want to get him to the hospital. It sounds like he might have diabetes. Sure enough, they took me to the family doctor and they put me right in the hospital for an overnight stay for a couple of days to get my blood sugars back down to normal, back to a more manageable reading.
Yeah.
Now, to have this conversation make a lot of sense to type 2 diabetics on the call today. In Canada, we deal with millimoles when it comes to blood sugar readings. So a 4.0 to a 7.0 millimole reading is optimal for us here in Canada. In the States, you want to take that number times it by 18, so to get your milligrams.
Huh?
So people talk 100 milligrams or 120 for the blood sugar readings. That's the little difference, but I won't get into that science of all that stuff. It'll bore
Yeah,
people.
yeah. No, it's cool. So as you said, how old were you when you got diagnosed with diabetes?
7 years old. 7 years
7.
old.
And this is type 1 diabetes.
Type 1 juvenile diabetes, insulin dependent. From the day they put me in the hospital, I was on 1 insulin shot a day with long acting and slow acting insulin together. And then I moved to 2 shots a day to get better control of my diabetes as I grew older.
Mm.
And as I was getting into my teenage years, I went to actually 4 shots a day, 4 needles a day with fast acting insulin because I was going to I was hoping I was going to become a police officer.
Okay.
They gave me better control of my diet by going 4 shots a day. And fast forward to now, in the last 12 years, I'm on an insulin pump, which gives me a little more flexibility with a young family. I can just push a couple buttons and give myself insulin that way with an insulin pump.
Yeah.
So I've kind of gone the full gamut.
So I want to tell people, Dean, for people that don't understand, there's basically type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is where your pancreas, which is what's supposed to produce insulin, it just doesn't produce insulin, right? So you have to actually give your body the insulin through an injection, now through a pump, so your body can, insulin is the most powerful hormone inside the human body, right? I'm always talking about this. Like insulin is the dictator. It says, go here, go there, but it helps the body process. We'll just leave it really simple, right? Let's keep it really basic. And your body doesn't produce insulin. A type 2 diabetic is somebody who actually pretty much gave themselves diabetes. I'm a pretty straightforward guy. Like if you got type 2 diabetes, you pretty much gave it to yourself because you got lazy, you ate a bunch of junk for a long period of time, you jacked up your blood sugar levels, and over time, the muscles stopped working, and eventually your body lost sensitivity to insulin, and it no longer produces. However, type 2, you can come back from. Type 1, you deal with. And
That's
you've
right.
been dealing with type 1 for, would you tell me, 43 years?
Well, I'll be 50 in April next year, and I'll be 43 years next summer.
43 years you've been dealing with diabetes.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you mentioned a couple things as a kid. So this was younger. Now, this kind of robbed you of energy, robbed you of stuff. You had to obviously learn how to manage life with diabetes now all of a sudden, right?
I think to my credit, Jesse, I'm an open book today because of my experience with diabetes as a 7-year-old kid.
Yeah.
I didn't keep it a secret. A lot of people that become diabetic are ashamed of it or don't want to believe they actually have it. So they don't tell a lot of people around them. But my support network is all I had at 7 years old. My mom and dad were fantastic. My mom really made sure I had 3 full meals a day plus snacks. I went to public school and made sure my teacher knew that he had a pack of lifesavers at his
Yeah.
desk if I ever had low blood sugar. So I managed. I still played sports. I didn't limit diabetes did not limit my experience as a child. I had a great
That's
childhood.
awesome.
I've had high blood sugars. I've had a lot of low blood sugars, but overall, my A1C has always been around the 7.0, 6.9, 7.3 in that area.
Yeah. That's great. That's awesome. Because you're right. There's a lot of people that struggle, right? They struggle with it. I think getting it as a kid, being young, as a kid, we're just so it's not, and we only know what we know, right? It's like as adults, it's like, oh, like but as a kid, it's like if you just dealt with it, it's like it wasn't really a big deal, so that's awesome. That's a good thing. And then so you share with me now, so let's fast forward a little bit. You have this thing, you go through, obviously you manage it, you're playing sports. When hockey, you mentioned something to me when I kind of asked you to tell me a little bit about yourself, because I always like to not get to know people too well until I can talk, because it makes it cool. But what when did no, you had mentioned something. So you obviously were playing hockey, you're growing up, you found the girl, you got married, you had kids, right? And then we're fast forward in some years here to kind of play the story out, obviously.
Yeah, we'll be here all night if we go the long story.
And we're getting to life. When in life did you did you start to feel, you had mentioned something to me, I forgot it was the boys were playing, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like you share this part of the story. Where did it kind of start to go? Because you're the sports guy, I'm imagining you're obviously pretty decent shape, stuff like that. Health is pretty good, obviously, right?
Yeah, I guess before I started this new journey that I've been on for the last few months, my heaviest weight was 285.
Okay.
For a 6-foot guy, I was considered obese.
Yeah.
And in my 20s, even in my 30s, I had a nice V shape in my back. I was in shape. My wife and I joke about it now when we look at pictures back when we started dating 15 years ago, that I've changed a lot. My image, as a person, you change over time. But the diabetes, even playing hockey as a young kid, I remember my dad having a can of Coke on the bench. I come off the ice. I feel like I'm not feeling right. Dad gives me a can of Coke. I'm back on the ice for the next shift. That's how it was back in the 70s and 80s. But to fast forward to where we are today, yeah, I've gained a lot of weight in my adult years. Really focused my energies from playing sports and playing hockey 3 times a week, going to the gym, playing a lot of golf. Like I really love my sports. But then when the kids came along, I really focused my efforts on my family first and kind of left myself to the wayside. Really, 2 young boys at home with my wife. Our focus with the boys, and I've always been in good control of my diabetes, but I wasn't always on top of it as well as I should be. Having an extra snack here, extra snack there, taking a little bit of insulin, and really the blood sugars were starting to spike and go down. And it was just almost like a yo-yo effect. Mm-hmm. Back in the 80s, Shoppers Drug Mart, a pharmacy here in Canada, they used to have a commercial with a long skipping rope. And they talk about a long life being a straight line of rope. That means constant good control of your blood sugars and stuff like that. But my skipping rope was up and down, which meant for a shorter life if I kept going that route. Mm-hmm. And this past summer, when I looked in the mirror and saw the person looking back at me, I just did not like what I saw. And I wanted to make a change before I turned 50 years old in April of next year, 2021. So
that's awesome. I mean, you got to have that aha moment. I want to come back to that. But so tell me where, a lot of people can relate to this story, right? This is a story that I hear a lot as a coach over the years, is that, Jess, like it was great. Like I was growing up, I was active, I played, and then, life happens, right? Like nobody gives you a playbook on how to have the perfect marriage. Nobody gives you a playbook on how to be the best parent. Nobody gives you a playbook on all this stuff, right? And life gets in the way. And you did your thing. So you focusing when the boys were born, you focusing on the boys, giving all that attention and stuff, not necessarily taking care of you. That's not now you're not being as active anymore.
Correct.
But still having the eating habits of.
I ate a lot of leftovers. The boys that wouldn't finish their meals, guess who was eating? I didn't want to put stuff into the garbage can. I wanted to eat the scraps, and the weight started piling on. It was not good. My wife will say I'm a closet eater. I love having snacks when people weren't watching. I grab a couple cookies here, a couple cookies there, cheese and crackers. Like, I'm not a big sugar guy as far as cans of Coke and stuff like that. Growing up, it was always the Diet Coke or Tab guy back in the 70s and 80s. But no, I love my desserts. I love carbs, and this path now, which we'll talk about, it's complete night and day for me now.
Hey, Dean, carbs are sugars. Just so you know.
Oh, I know. I take a lot of insulin just to offset the carbs I was taking. So I know all about it.
So, can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah, of course you can.
What? Well, I mean, some people. What? Besides the kids, is there something that clicked? Like, you were a guy that obviously enjoyed being physically active and stuff, right? And when you started to eat, like you would, I'm going to assume that you probably knew you were eating too much. You knew you were eating the wrong stuff.
Yeah.
Did food turn into pleasure for you? Like, was it masking some pain? Were you not excited about something, or, like what happened where it was like this Dean to the Dean who's like overeating, you're watching yourself gain weight, you know what I mean? You're not necessarily happy. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just kind of sharing like what I've kind of dug from people over the years and stuff. Like,
yeah.
I don't think anybody looks in the mirror and goes, "Oh, I don't want to be healthy. Like, I want to feel like shit every day, and I want to be overweight." Like, I just don't think that people think that way. You know what I mean? Like, so was there something in there? Is there?
Oh, there's been a few things, and you're pretty much bang on there, Jesse. I had pretty serious moments. I'm a type of guy that always says yes to anything. I volunteer a lot of my free time. I coached a lot of kids in hockey after I gave up my own hockey playing days.
Okay.
There's an ugly moment there that happened in 2017 that I never really fully dealt with, and I don't want to get into it here on the call because it went to a legal proceedings and the whole bit.
Okay.
Anyway, I hung on to a lot of that stuff, a lot of frustration, a lot of anger because I didn't fight back. I just let things happen and try to do the right thing for my son because my son saw a lot of stuff happen to me at the rink.
Mm-hmm.
And I let those frustrations, because then he was starting to have nightmares at night because of what he saw happen to me. I hung on to a lot of those things. And I'm not going to say that food was my crutch because it wasn't. I think what had happened, Jesse, is I cut out a lot of the exercise, a lot of the physical activity I was doing, and continue to have those snacks, those family dinners, and never kind of push myself away from the table. Oh, there's something else to try to hear that as well. So when you take exercise out of the equation, it doesn't really help if you don't lower down on the food intake. So that was kind of an evil thing. So this past in 2020 in May, I was at, like I said, 285 was my heaviest. I met a fantastic lady, a friend of mine, Sandy. I won't use her last name, but she's a nutritionist as well, and she and I talked a lot of conversations about the demons inside of me and trying to get through those demons to try to find a better path for myself. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't hydrating myself enough. Just not satisfied. A lot of frustrations. I work in law enforcement, so I've got a lot of stress from day to day dealing with that kind of stuff as well. So come home to a busy family, it just kind of piles on and on and on. And what better to do than sit in my recliner at night, watch the news, then watch TV and have some snacks at 10 o'clock at night. It's just it was a vicious cycle, and I had to break that.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, for the short interview, yeah, it's I could go on.
No, I mean that's a lot just for life, and I want to thank you for sharing that, Dean, because it's I think you'd help a lot of people, bro. I really do. And I know, like, I look at you post sometimes and I just want to tell you that you can feel the person in you. You're a pleaser. You're a pleaser. listen, I'm a pleaser, and being a pleaser, I've royally screwed my life by myself multiple times over. I've done some stupid shit, bro. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can talk about that, but it's just mine came from childhood and things that I've dealt with, and then it never leaves you, right? Like, you had this moment. Like, people have these traumas in life, and it could be from childhood, it could be from adulthood, and it impacts life so much that I think, at least you identify it. Some people still try to hide, they mask it. And I asked you that. I'm glad it wasn't necessarily like you just say, look, like, I just ate. Like, it made me feel better at that time. You know what I mean? Like, like, stress is a son of a bitch. Stress is a son of a bitch. It's a silent killer. 90% of family doctor visits, Dean, are stress related.
Yeah.
Isn't that
No,
crazy?
and honestly, Jesse, I had to take time off from work for the first time ever. I never always thought if you take stress leave, you're a weaker person. But it got to a point where I had chest pains. I just was not in a good place, and I
Yeah.
had to take time off for myself. But I was carrying a lot of weight, a lot more weight than I should have been at that time. And you talk about trauma here in the last comment. We didn't even talk about the biggest trauma in my life apart from diabetes. And I won't say diabetes is a trauma because I've dealt with it quite well over my years, never had any real serious incidents with it. I've been very lucky that way. But in 2011, Heather, my wife, she was pregnant with our second son, Ryan, 7 months pregnant. And my endocrinologist asked me she felt a lump in my throat. So she asked me if I'd go for a biopsy on my thyroid. So sure as hell, comes back, it was positive for cancer. So that was, your wife's 7 months pregnant with your second child, you hear the word cancer, you're like, holy shit, like, am I going to be around to see my boys grow up? What kind of legacy am I going to leave for my boys? Like, are they going to know their dad at all? Like, I really had a heart. I still get emotional thinking about it now.
Yeah.
I'm a softie too, so I'm sorry if I get too emotional.
You're good,
But
man. You're good.
um, I don't have a huge family, but I have a very close family.
Yeah.
And to announce that news, because I got the news here in Whitby, Ontario, told my wife, and I had to tell my mom and dad and my brother and sister and aunts and uncles. I kind of started expressing myself. I created a website of my own, almost like a blog.
Yeah.
And, I just did my journey with cancer. And my brother, of all people, when I was feeling sorry for myself when I got the diagnosis, he says, Dean, give your ass a kick and give yourself a kick in the ass. Like, get your head out of your ass and stay positive. Get positive. You'll beat this thing. And you know what? I did 2 rides for cancer in 2012 and 2013. And those are, you talked about the Century Club and doing those ultra marathon runs.
Yeah.
Well, back at the time, I was probably about 240 pounds. My cancer surgeon said that I looked like a circus bear on a speed bike because I was just such a big guy and I was not your typical bicyclist. But in 2 days from Niagara Falls, Ontario, to Toronto and back, I did those long bike rides, and it took a lot of training. And like, when I'm determined, I'll do what I got to do. Like, I trained for months just so I could do that 2-day, 250-kilometer ride.
Yeah.
For a guy that's never ridden a bike before. So I did those 2 rides in 2 years in a row, and I met some fantastic people through that. So talk about a supportive community. It's all what you make of it.
Yeah. That's damn, bro. Damn.
I didn't think you'd get me all emotional tonight. I thought I'd be fine and joking, cracking jokes. And
Listen, I asked you if you were open.
well,
I'm the wrong person.
My wife's still a little uncomfortable with it because she's like, "What are you going to say tonight?" Like, I'm going to roll with the punches, just like Jesse says, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, man. It's just a chit chat. There's no one watching. No, I think it's it's good to talk about it. And you said, you had said something about how if you took the leave, you were more of a sissy. And I think that messed with me myself, because as men, we're supposed to hide our emotions. We're supposed to hide how we feel. We're supposed to not cry. We're supposed to not share. Like, your word of sissy is a lot nicer than a lot of the words that guys throw around with each other, that I won't say, right?
Oh, names, yes. I'm trying to keep this
Yeah,
G.
yeah, and it's like, and that messes with you too, Dean. You know what I mean? Like, so you might not think it messes with you growing up, but now you have this situation, right? You had your first situation. Now you have cancer. You got a baby on the way. You have, you didn't want to take stress leave. Like, do you see? I want to show you, like, these are all things, right, that bring people to these points. And you're building, 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 building. I know you watched my chat with Michael Epstein, right? And it's the same thing, right? Like, every one of us, if you look and identify, and this is still a struggle for me because I still identify it, but you build and build and build and build and build, and then you get to this breaking point where it's just like, what the fuck? Like, what do I do? You know what I mean? And at that point, it's like, thankfully you have this community. Thankfully, I'm like you, I don't have a huge family, but I got a good support group. You know what I mean? Like, I got the people, and this community has just made it even better. And I hope you feel on that. I want to get to that part too, because there's so much, but just so people know, like, Dean's an average guy. Dean's just,
I'm your guy next door. I'm
we're
a
all we're all struggling with something. All struggling with something. And in this world today, it drives me nuts. My fiance, I can call my fiance now instead of my girlfriend. My
yeah.
fiance, she does really well with Instagram. She's got a big Instagram account. And, she calls it the highlight reel. You know what I mean? Like, people just see this scroll hole of, like, perfection. Well, sometimes it takes 222 fucking pictures to get one good one that actually shows up on that highlight reel. But yet we've screwed with the mind even more. You see, it's mind, 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 mind. So I want to thank you again for being vulnerable, for being open. With me, you'll always have a safe place. So just so you know that, as we become better friends, I know with Sean and Crystal, they're the same way. I mean, I trust them like my brother and sister. They're good people. They're good people. Bob, good people.
Yeah.
You got a good group that's there to cheer you on, and obviously your amazing family. So let's get into this. You get to your highest point, right? All this shit builds up.
Yeah.
You look in the mirror and you go, tell me what like. You look back in the mirror, and what is the thought of the person looking back at you? What did you feel? What was the emotion inside? Like, how did you feel when you saw that person instead of hid from that person?
Looking in the mirror, not more than about 3 months ago, I was pretty ashamed of what I saw. I've got constant jokes from my two sons, tapping me on the belly and calling me the big guy. And even sitting there watching TV at night with my wife, she'd look over me. She says, "Are your eyes open or are they shut?" Like, I was that fat in the face, just carrying a lot of extra weight. I just wasn't feeling healthy. Out of bed in the morning, I got knee cracks in my knee joints, my lower back sore. I'm thinking, I'm 49 years old. Is this what all I have to look forward to for the next 20, 30 years for as long as I'm around on this earth? I said, my sons are looking to have fun with me and play outside and be active. And I'd rather just sit up and just watch TV. It just wasn't a life to live. And I had to do something about it. I wanted to do something about it before I turned 50. Like, 50 is a big milestone for a lot of people. I really wanted, with the diabetes, my diabetes, the A1C was going up in the mid 7s. I wanted to get back down to the 6s where I was back in my 20s and 30s. And if it meant losing some weight, that was even better. So that's why I said to myself, you know what, Dean, I'm doing something about this right now. I've tried the other diet plans and stuff like that, but I needed something that's going to last. And something that's
What did you
work.
do, Dean? What have you tried over the years?
I've tried Weight Watchers. I've tried carb counting. I've never done keto. I've just tried to be very conscious eating whole foods. I go to see a diabetic doctor on a regular endocrinologist, and I'm part of the Whitby, Ontario. We have a Charles H. Best diabetic clinic for adults and children, and I've been seeing a dietitian on a regular basis. She's been great with me, trying to help me move along. And I even said to her back in the summertime, I said, I want to lose some weight. I want to get better shape. She goes, you know what? Just stick to whole foods. Get some exercise into. You'll eventually see it, but you're turning 50, so you're not going to see any major losses or gains. So I just said, okay.
This is from a registered dietitian?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do
No, it's fine. Keep going.
So she just like she just wanted me to eat whole foods like apples and fruits and vegetables, and not do too much on the carb side of it, and just try to have a healthier lifestyle when choices picking foods out instead of eating prepackaged stuff.
I mean, she's not wrong. She's
No.
not wrong. And I just want to point out to people, like, if you've struggled, like, Dean, here you are, you got all this shit, you're frustrated, you want to get better, right? Like, I know as a dad, they were joking, but you were hurting.
Oh yeah, it's still yeah, as you saw me get emotional. I've dealt with a lot of it, but yeah, it still bugs me.
You were hurting. And now you're asking for help from professionals. And this is what happens. This is what happens. This is not her fault. This is what they teach you. This is what they teach you in school. Oh, here's this. This is why I'm so grateful that I got to study in this one particular school called Institute of Integrative Nutrition, which is the coaching side, which is why I love that side versus like, oh, I can be your nutritionist, or I could be your dietitian, or I could be, you know what I mean? Like, for me, it's not about, hey, Dean, go eat whole foods. How can I actually get you to connect and understand like the power? How can I get you, not me, you to actually take action and want to do something, but understand how to do it as well? It's been my struggle for many, many years. It's one of the greatest things that I'm so excited about this thing, right? So you find you have the struggle, you try these different things, whole foods, good foods, so on and so forth, and nothing's necessarily breaking wrong, right? Or going through. And then you find, is that how you found the erShred? How'd you get into the erShred? Let's get into that a little bit now.
It was actually my sister, Trisha. She about a year prior to November, so a year ago November, she tried going down the route of a different, healthier lifestyle. She's a young mom of two girls. Same situation as me, but she's not diabetic.
Okay.
She had her own health complications, and she found this new path. So I started researching it. I'm the type of guy that kind of looks at stuff, and I usually say no. If you ask my wife, I'll always say no first, and then think about it afterwards, and then come back to the idea. Even though I say yes to a lot of volunteer work and stuff like that, I'll say no to my family first before I actually think about it thoroughly. And I just did a lot of research. I looked at the erShred. I looked at the connection with diabetes. And what I did is my day job, I work in enforcement, intelligence unit type work, where I'm always getting pieces of a puzzle together and try to make sense of something. So what did I do with my knowledge of diabetes is I wanted to go and see if there was any connection with the erShred with type 1 diabetics.
Okay.
And there's so much literature out there about type 2 diabetics and how to adjust your lifestyle. I couldn't really find any type 1 diabetics. And lo and behold, I saw a YouTube video that had Bob Seabright in it. And Bob, if you're watching tonight, it was such a fun, we laugh about it now. I did not know Bob whatsoever. And actually, when he was being interviewed by some medical professional on this YouTube video, his YouTube video said Ali Seabright. So I started Googling Ali Seabright, trying to figure out how to get a hold of Ali, thinking Ali was Bob. So anyways, this is on a Sunday night about 10 o'clock at night. And if you know me well enough and you're starting to get to know me now, I'll pick up the phone and call you, whoever you are. I don't care who you are. We're all the same. We put our pants on the same way. And that's how I do my day job. I talk to law enforcement all across North America from my own little town. And I eventually got through Ali to Bob. And Bob thought I was pranking him on a Sunday night. He thought I was some old college buddy of his. And I no, Bob, I don't know you. I'm from Whitby, Ontario, Canada. I'm asking questions about diabetes, type 1s, and the shred. And so Bob, after he realized it was not a joke, he started kind of explaining to me and how this would work. And I was worried about low blood sugars through the cleanse and the whole bit and whatnot. And he says, you can make it work. Get some applesauce. If you have a low blood sugar, take some applesauce. So anyways, I just did a lot of research. I did my due diligence. I thoroughly went through this stuff for about a good number of months before I actually said, yes, it's time for you to try this. And I'm so glad that I did.
Dude, that's a crazy story. That's literally how this is how you met Bob.
Yeah, and
Bob,
from Sean,
Bob, this guy's a firecracker, and you better shower him with gifts and give him all the love.
I owe him a lot. He's
shit. I wish you would have found my YouTube video.
Oh Jesus! So yeah, no,
Oh man, dude,
Bob,
that's
anytime I have a
crazy.
question, Bob's always there to take my call and have a conversation. He's walking in his backyard. Well, he's just like his weather's like my weather. I'm out in the yard too in the snow, and
Yeah.
I've tried to do some ideas too. I'm trying to connect because I've had so much success in November and December. I want to pay it forward to other diabetics or people like in my situation. In
Well,
2000,
tell people what happened, Dean. So you met Bob, and he finally took you seriously, and you then get started with.
yeah, I got ready. I got started with the products to use. I really focused on the shred. I reviewed because Sean Escobar, your buddy, and now all of our friends. Yes, Bob, I signed up for it. But I asked Bob about the shred, and Bob was telling me how many changes, how great the shred was for him at his age, and he's only 59. He's not much older than I am.
Wait, so I thought you signed up with him. You signed up with your sister, though.
Yes, Trisha Eastman. She
And
was
Bob, so Bob was just okay. This is the Bob that I know. Bob will give anything to anybody too. But he's an amazing guy. So he just took your call and just gave you all this information. So you should be showering him with gifts then.
I know. I've already told him I owe him big time. I owe him my life right now.
Oh, it's funny.
I mean,
So you get into the shred and you started in November, right? We launched it in October. You start hearing all these videos, you start seeing these results. You see Sean running around without a shirt, being a Tarzan model and all that kind of stuff. And you're like, what the hell? And then Bob is telling you about how you can manage this, and you do your own research, but then you finally say yes in November. And tell me what happened. What's happened from day one of erShred to the end of December?
So November 19th, I did actually a 12-day shred.
Okay.
Because I was starting to do the shakes and eating the meat at nighttime. And I love sea salt. I love butter. So this plan was simple and consistent.
Yeah.
And I've been saying in a lot of talk groups in the shred that the KISS principle, when you talk about simple, stupid, I'm stupid. And I like to keep it simple. And this is the easiest transformation I've ever done for myself in my lifetime. I did 3 or 4 days of meats and shakes, and then I went to the 2-day cleanses. And that I won't lie to you, I was scared to go to a 2-day cleanse because being on insulin, being 270 pounds, I've never gone without food for more than maybe 6 hours. And here you want me to go 2 days without good full meals? I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. But you know what? I went blind. I've heard the terminology blind faith. I jumped in with both feet. I saw Sean and the Adonis body you guys have. Not that I expect to have an Adonis body because I'll never have that. But I figured I could do the ride for cancer in 2 days, and I never rode a bike as much as I did back then. I can do this.
Yeah.
I went in. I stuck to the plan. I read the PDF that's in the Shredders group. I didn't merge or verge away from what was asked of me, and I stuck to it. I've been doing the fitness app, my Fitness Pal, to record my calories and stuff like that because I try to keep my meal. Like I ate as much meat as I possibly could to fill myself up. Had a hard-boiled egg every now and then if I was hungry in between. But you know what? I've had no cravings since November 19th. And you know what? Before the shred, I'm always snacking. I was always wanting, a piece of bread. Oh, I wanted that cookie. I like a piece of that pie. I had no cravings over Christmas. Now, mind you, we're in lockdown here in Canada. Yes, magic in a bottle, Bob. It was like Shazam. Like I was loving it. I have been loving it. I can't quit talking about it. And I'm not a rah kind of guy. Like I said, I always say no first whenever somebody asks me a question. I have been done nothing since November 19th, but to try to tell others about this, but try to keep it under my hat because I didn't want people to think I was crazy. But this is this is beautiful, Sean Escobar. If you're here in Crystal,
he's here. He's listening.
So 270-pound guy. I'm down now to 250. I was on the scale this morning, 253.4. So, and I always want to get to 250. I want to keep going to see where this thing takes me.
Yeah, man.
I am going to be a user. Like I'll do a shred a month. I may not do back-to-backs because of my diabetes, because I have to keep that all in check. But my blood sugar, and I'm not saying it's because of the shred, but because I'm in more control of what's going into my body now, my blood sugar levels are like overnight, I'm a 4.0 to a 5.0, which is times 18, what that is for milligrams. So I'm feeling great. My energy's back. I've got less stress. I can't say enough good things, Jesse, about this whole magic in a bottle. Like it is unreal. And if I could get my words out and elicit myself well enough as to how it's had a positive impact on my life, I would make it happen. Like I'm ready to
tell me some things. Tell me beside how so what's your old so you've lost how much weight now?
Since the summertime, I'm down 31 pounds.
31 freaking pounds since November 19th. And how many inches? Do you know how many inches?
No, 21 pounds since November 19th.
21 pounds. Okay. 21 pounds since November 19th. And how many inches?
I can't tell you. I don't think I've lost as many inches as I see some of our community they've lost, because I actually had my wife do my measurements, and I just here and there.
Okay.
But my face, my dad saw me at Christmas time on the Zoom, and he says, "Dean," he says, "you look like a new person. Like my face has gotten thinner. I still got a way to go, but but I'm looking thinner." My wife says, like, I'm down 2 pant sizes. Things are going well.
Let me tell you something. 2 pant sizes is a lot of inches, buddy. Sometimes, Sean caught Adam off guard. He's like, "Yeah, I lost 3 inches off my waist. Like it was nothing." I'm like, 3 inches off your waist is a big deal. Like that's a lot of inside fat that your body is not happy with, that you're making go poof. You know what I mean? That's freaking awesome. So you're telling me your cravings are gone. Now when you're doing this thing, you're not starving, you don't feel hungry. This isn't like, is this like anything else that you've tried before? Like, why do you think you're being so successful with this versus just eat whole foods, Dean, and eat clean and eat your vegetables and do what society says is right and what the nutrition book says is right necessarily? Like, what's the difference? Like, why do you think this is so different? Like, why are you having so much success?
Whatever it is that the holistic program, or the I don't have all the right words that you guys use, but the 2 shakes a day with the meat meal at night, that's more than I can eat. Like I am fully satisfied, not looking into the cupboard to see what else I can grab, because my kids are young. They have bear paws. They have all kinds of stuff that back in the day, back 3 months ago, I'm going to have a bear paw with them because it's good and it tasted great. It was a quick satisfaction. But for me, this whole shred has been fantastic. I cannot say enough good things about it because I'm not hungry. And I cooked burgers last night for my family. I had 1 hamburger. Back in the day, I'd have 2 or 2.5 hamburgers, and then fries maybe with that. I'm just fully satisfied. And the bone
your hamburgers back in the day were like buns and everything.
Oh yeah, no.
And last night your hamburger was just the meat.
No, so I'm not. So I have to tell the truth. I didn't tell you yesterday, but I actually had somebody that was interested in the shredding in the programs. I actually spent the day talking with her, and actually kind of focused my efforts on her. So I kind of didn't. I'm gonna do the shred starting next week. Just pushed it back a week. So I did have a bit of carbs with my supper last night, but I kept it to 600 calories. I've been very smart about what's going into my mouth now. I think that's the most conscious thing. And Bob, he will talk about Brussels sprouts. After my 12-day shred that I did in November, my first meal after the shred was steak and green beans. Now I thought green beans, hey, it's supposed to be healthy. I'll start with something healthy like that. Well, sorry for those of you on this call, but I had so much gas after eating green beans because I've been eating steak all the way through it, and the steak was feeling great with me. But holy,
yeah,
dude,
it's amazing, and if people don't know, I got the websites flashing across the bottom. I mean, listen, come into our community. It's free. Go to ershredders.com. Go to ershred.com. So ershred.com, you can find the video, the breakdown. We'll break down the elimination, the reset, the shred, the community. We'll share the science and why it works, why people like Dean are experiencing things like this. There's a lot of magic in there. Not magic, Dean. You're the magic. I always preach this. You're the magic. The erShred is the tracks to run on. The erShred doesn't just say, "Hey, Dean, eat whole foods." It says, "Hey, Dean, here's what we can do. Here's a simple protocol. It's going to fill you. It's going to satiate you. We're going to eliminate all the bullshit that's going to cause inflammation inside the body. We're going to give the body back what the body needs. The body was designed for nutrition. The body was designed for nutrients, vitamins, and minerals, right? And we're going to give that back. We're going to put in the animal fats, the proteins. We're going to give the body what it had back in the day when our ancestors roamed the land, right? When food was food, not chemically processed bullshit, right? We're going to give that back to the body, and we're going to allow the body to come back to life, because when given a fighting chance, the body will heal itself. You've heard me say this before, right?
150%.
When given a fighting chance, the body will heal itself, right? So you know what I mean? Like when people have tried these diets and stuff to that nature, it's there. And then what about the community aspect? Like the go to ershredders.com to hop into our community. It's absolutely free. And like I said, ershred.com to find out more. But what about the community? Do you feel that the community has been a big help for you? Tell me about it a little bit.
The community has been fantastic, Jesse. I mean, I haven't met one negative person in here with any kind of negative comments. Tara Cooper, I want to give her props. So shout out tonight. Just much like Bob, I just went through the community group. I saw a local Canadian. I sent her a message. She responded to me like within minutes. I mean, Tara's fantastic, and she doesn't even know me. She lives in the Toronto area. But it's just that kind of inclusive community. You asked me what I think of this shredding program, the whole bit. I'm all in because my wife and I just purchased a year's worth of beef from local Ontario farms. So I'm in this for the long run. And
would you buy a whole cow?
I bought a year's worth of we bought a year's worth of pork, beef, chicken, grass fed, you name it. I got all the healthiest stuff we could find. And I mean, we worked it into our budget. We're happy with it. I mean, it's just been fantastic. And now I got myself some. I've got buddies and friends that have said it's not grass-fed butter, but the grass-fed to the cows to get you the butter. But I'm stupid, remember? I'm a keep it simple, stupid guy. So I've got my butter now through Farm Boy here in Canada. I can't get what you guys get at Costco in the States. They don't have that here in Costco in Canada, but I've worked around it. And my wife asked me if we're going to sell the cars and start driving bicycles now, because we've gone from one extreme to the other. And I'm loving this. I'm happy. It just shows my face. I'm smiling a lot more now than I ever have. And I've had a lot of nice comments from the community. People think it's great. And I'm still searching for type 1 diabetics that might be in the SHRED program. That I've seen a couple comments saying that the husbands can't do the cleanse. Give me a call if you're concerned about what can happen to you during cleanse. You can cleanse as a type 1 diabetic. And I'm not a doctor, and I can't profess to say I got all the solutions, but I know what worked for Dean Eastman, and I can definitely impart my wisdom from a diabetic standpoint on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're a walking example, Dean. You know what I mean? Like, and you're right. You know, none of the stuff that we say in here, we don't claim to treat, cure, prevent disease or anything to that nature. All you're doing is sharing what happened to you.
Yeah.
Again, the erShred is not. You're the miracle. I can't stress this enough. You know what I mean? Like Sean's body was the miracle. He just had to find the right stuff. And then when we figured it out and broke it all apart we were like, what the hell? Like anybody can benefit from this. This is like, people are suffering. And this is like, I mean, I said it on the video when I broke it down. I was like, dude, it took me years and thousands of dollars to figure out this aha moment. And, you know, November 19th, Dean, you haven't been doing this for 2 months. You've been trying for all this time. And all of a sudden, you're a guy who's gone from cravings, overweight, miserable, not happy, chronic inflammation to a guy who's thriving. The family's involved. Everybody's doing their thing, right? And look at you. Like, you're like, oh, this is my lifestyle. You see the magic right there?
100%. And you know what?
It's not a freaking diet. It's not a diet. I'm not telling you just to go eat whole foods. Like, this is a lifestyle, because you're getting to identify the foods that now serve you, where before you were serving food. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You didn't even know what was going on. And that's this amazing empowerment movement that we are able to give to people, is you put yourself back in the driver's seat. You're in control, dude. You're in control.
Well, thanks. My wife, Heather, she's going to do the shred with me next week. She's seen the results. I think I've made a believer out of her, even that she wasn't sure what I was doing at the start, but seeing the positive results it's had on me, she wants to give it a shot herself. So we're going to do it together. So that's positive.
You created a ripple effect because you had the courage to say yes. You were at a place where you were kind of like desperately dying for a solution, and this solution came to you, right?
Yeah. No, I'm so thankful to Sean and to Jesse, to the whole crew here at the community. Since whenever Jesse started this experience, I'm glad I came into it in November, a month or two later, because I'm reaping the benefits of what he's brought forward to the community. So
Yeah.
from the bottom of my heart, to Sean, to Crystal, to all you guys and girls, thank you, because I am forever in your debt. It's been fantastic.
Nah, this is for everybody, dude. Like, it's not about being in debt. Like, this is what we thrive on. You understand? Like, my mission in life is just that I believe health is our greatest wealth. You know, Sean's mission in life and Crystal, I mean, they're the most down to earth, humble people you'll ever meet in your life. Like, the dude doesn't do this for money. You know what I mean? I promise you, they don't need money. Like, this is really joy. That like this brings us joy to know that there's a solution that can benefit so many people's lives. It's just, dude, it keeps me up. It keeps me up at night. You know what I mean? Like,
and it doesn't seem to have any kind of age limit. I mean, my own father has kind of dabbled in. He's lost 15 pounds, maybe not doing the shred to the full extent, but he's had experience with it as well. So he's 75 years old, having success. I've seen some other people in the community here where they're having great success. It's ageless. It's a fantastic thing, and I can't see myself ever walking away from this.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love hearing that, Dean. I'm so happy for you. I really am genuinely happy for you. You will always have a place here. This community is for everybody. You know, and it's awesome. It's my favorite part. Like, I love when people get the physical and they, you know, they get that connection. That's what's needed to create the lifestyle change, right? But when
you go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I told myself I wouldn't take over the conversation. I'm trying not. November 19th, I haven't even done it other than for walking our dog. I have not done any weights, and that's the other thing that boggles my mind, how out of shape I was to lose this much weight without even doing any physical exercise other than walking. I'm just in awe of this whole shredding experience.
Yeah, isn't it crazy? It's so crazy. It's so crazy, dude. It's I get the science behind it, obviously. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to me, I've never seen anything like it in all my years of helping people and even going through it myself. Like, it's just nuts what it's doing. Everybody deserves it. Everybody deserves it. You know, everybody deserves it. So listen, man, I'm so happy for you. I want to thank you again for sharing, for being vulnerable, for showing up. I know that this is going to help somebody. This is going to help a lot of people. This video is not going away. And I want to follow back up. You know, you got my number. We chatted, stay in touch. Obviously, we talk in the group and stuff. But I want to do a follow-up with you if you're open in, like, you know, a month or two from now, because I want to see the continued progress. I want to keep showing people that still need more time. They need to wait because of whatever the reason is. Like, I was a stickler too. It took me 6 months to say yes way back 6 years ago to the original system. And, you know, I want people to know that this is not just some fad thing. This isn't something that's going to go away. This is something that's just going to get freaking bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And it's worldwide now. And we just want to impact more lives. And we just want people to know that there's this option and this loving, open community that if you need something,
we're here.
It's here for you.
Yeah,
it's here for you. So, all right, brother. Well, listen, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time. And I can't wait to keep celebrating your success. So keep posting, keep showing up. And if I can do anything to help you, you reach out and you let me know, and you know I'll be there for you.
All right, Jesse. Thanks a lot for your time tonight, and thanks to everybody for tuning in. It was
brother. All right, we'll chat soon. All right, guys, have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.